United States has carried out airstrikes against Iranian forces near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical waterways in the entire world. U.S. Central Command confirmed the strikes late Monday, saying they were defensive in nature. American forces targeted small Iranian mine-laying vessels that had been operating in the strait, along with a surface-to-air missile position near the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas. These are the first U.S. strikes against Iran since early May, and they come at a deeply sensitive moment. High-level diplomatic talks between the two countries are still ongoing, just miles away, in Doha, Qatar. Iran's armed forces wasted no time responding. A military spokesperson warned that any future American aggression will be met with, and I quote, a far more severe response. Iran's supreme leader also issued a public statement calling for the United States to remove all its military bases from the Gulf region, saying, in his words, that the hands of time will not turn back. So why did the U.S. strike? Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the American position crystal clear earlier today. He said the Strait of Hormuz must remain open for every nation, without condition and without tolls. He called Iran's current actions unlawful, illegal, and completely unsustainable for the world. His message was direct: the strait will be open, one way or another. And that brings us to the nuclear question, which sits at the heart of everything happening right now. President Trump posted an ultimatum on Truth Social overnight. He said Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium must either be transferred immediately to the United States for destruction or dismantled inside Iran itself under full supervision of the International Atomic Energy Commission. No exceptions, no delays. Now, analysts say Iran is very unlikely to ship that uranium to American soil. Iranian state media has floated the idea of destroying it in China or reversing the enrichment process domestically. But the Trump administration has made it clear any deal that leaves that material inside Iran is not a deal at all. Because enriched uranium in the wrong hands is a path to a nuclear weapon, and that is a line this administration will not allow to be crossed. Despite the strikes overnight, talks have not broken down. Iran's Speaker of Parliament and its foreign minister are still in Doha, working through the details. Qatar is playing a key role here, not just as a mediator, but as the country holding billions of dollars in frozen Iranian funds. Iran wants that money. But American officials have been firm: not a single dollar in sanctions relief until Iran lives up to its commitments. The Trump administration is drawing a direct lesson from the Obama era, when critics say cash was handed over to Tehran only to be funneled back into missile and drone programs. And then there is the northern front, Israel and Hezbollah. Israel has vowed to dramatically escalate its strikes against the Iran-backed militant group after a fresh wave of drone and rocket attacks from southern Lebanon. Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed the nation, saying Israel will, quote, smite them with overwhelming force. At the same time, a regional source tells us that Israeli and Lebanese officials are scheduled to hold diplomatic talks later this week in an effort to stabilize the border and ultimately remove Hezbollah's presence entirely. To understand why all of this matters, consider this. The Strait of Hormuz is the single most important oil choke point on the planet. Nearly 1/5 of the world's petroleum supply passes through that narrow stretch of water every single day. Iran knows this. And right now, Tehran sees control over that strait as its last real card at the negotiating table, especially after its nuclear infrastructure was destroyed in Operation Midnight Hammer, and much of its navy was eliminated during Operation Epic Fury. The question now is simple, but the stakes could not be higher. Will diplomacy hold, or will the Gulf move closer to open conflict? We will continue to follow every development. I'm your anchor. Stay with us. This story is far from over.